Michael Carrick got the memo from day one. He's freed Kobbie Mainoo now, and the version of Mainoo he's released is ready to become the Premier League's worst nightmare.
Now it's, for me, Kobbie Mainoo needs a partner. When you think of Manchester United midfield, I think of Mainoo, and they're probably still looking for one other, I would imagine, in the transfer market, and within a sort of 6-month time frame from making his debut and coming in, and where he finds himself now, what he's done for Manchester United, scoring a cup final.
In just 2 games, he's recaptured the form that made him one of English football's brightest prospects. Work rate, technique, and the skills to match. Part of a team with a 100% record under new manager Michael Carrick. Mainoo is back, only this time he's looking even better than before. He's ready to take the Premier League by storm, ready to turn the competition into the stuff of nightmares. It's crazy to think how all of this was days away from never happening. Coming into the new year, Mainoo was fed up. He hadn't started a league game all season, not because he wasn't good enough, but because according to former United manager Ruben Amorim, Mainoo needed to fight for his place against a club legend. Amorim kept insisting that Mainoo and Bruno Fernandes couldn't play together because they were fighting for the same spot. It was tense, wicked. Mainoo was on the verge of leaving United. Clubs like Chelsea and Napoli had already started showing concrete interest, and it seemed for a while like the deal would be completed this January. But after United decided to sack Amorim at the start of the new year, Michael Carrick came in as caretaker manager until the end of the season. A man who doesn't just know the club, but also knows Mainoo. A man with whom he has worked with it. It didn't take long for Carrick to make a decision. Kobbie was in from the start. The first big test of the new Carrick era at United was against rivals Manchester City in the Manchester derby. The entire world was watching. Michael Carrick knew if he wanted to start his United tenure the right way, he needed a team that could perform. Needed players who understood what it means to play for United. He changed the shape. Mainoo started alongside Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes in the midfield. A trio that former manager Ruben Amorim insisted could not work. What happened next was Mainoo reminding the world watching why he's been highly rated from the start. Mainoo didn't just play, he dominated midfield for United. And that's saying a lot considering that City played the likes of Rodri, Phil Foden and Bernardo Silva in there. Mainoo's 3 tackles were the joint second most for United that afternoon. He made more interceptions than any United player against City, and this only touches the surface of what was a complete performance. Mainoo in the middle of the park helped United set the tempo to play. You see, Michael Carrick already knew his team wasn't going to come out and battle with City for possession, so they allowed them have the ball. City had 68.2% possession to United's 31.8%. But the key part here is how resolute and compact United were. Despite City's possession count and the 35 touches they managed in United's half, they were restricted to just 1 shot on target by United. City failed to create a big chance, and a big part of that came down to Kobbie Mainoo's impact in midfield. Just before we get into what the game plan was, there's a hype button down below that if you click will help us at matchday moments reach a wider audience with more content like this. Thanks. The game plan was all about transitions. United created more chances against City from counterattacks, with 4 for the first time in over 2 seasons. Mainoo was the heart of it. When United did get the ball, he became a metronome in midfield. He ranked second for touches for United with 51, only behind Bruno Fernandes' 65 touches that afternoon. Mainoo also ranked joint top for completed passes with 32, while his passing accuracy of 91.4% was the 3rd most of all United starters. The point? Mainoo was involved in everything positive going forward for United. But the real highlight of the afternoon for every United fan was Mainoo and Bruno Fernandes' partnership. It's again baffling to understand how Ruben Amorim kept insisting these two couldn't play together. For context, the player Mainoo found the most with his passes was Bruno Fernandes. He was able to pick out Bruno 8 times. That's the highest player-to-player pass return for United in the derby. The link-up between the two felt real. It felt like something that should have been unleashed from the start of the season. For all the talk about stats, there's the stuff Mainoo did that just had fans standing up to applaud. He sent Antoine Semenyo back to Bournemouth with that dribble. On the whole, it was a sensational performance, and that picture of him in the tunnel with Carrick after the game, pure box office. Mainoo had been unleashed. After the game, Michael Carrick came out and echoed the same thing.
But I think we seen last week what Kobbie can bring. It was great. You know, he's quite straight-faced and he doesn't give you an awful lot, but you could see the way he played and he expressed himself. He was enjoying himself.
He was pleased with what he'd seen from Mainoo, a player who, in an earlier interview, Carrick had hinted that he was the type of player to build a team around.
Who would you build around in this current team now, in the midfield area?
I think for a club to have a player that's come through the academy and knows the club and feels it. And I think to have a talent like that he's shown already, they get it, they know it. Let's help them, let's build them and stick with them. I think there's definitely a place for him there for sure.
So heading into the next game against league leaders Arsenal, Michael Carrick reaffirmed that trust. He started the same team that beat City in the derby, meaning Mainoo had now gone from not starting a league game all season to playing in back-to-back league matches. And you can almost guess what happened. He delivered again. He was instrumental in United's win against Arsenal. For starters, he recorded a 100% long pass accuracy and an 85% pass accuracy in total. 51 touches, 4 passes into the final third, 4 ball recoveries, 2 chances created, a shot, and the assist for Matheus Cunha's winner. Again, alongside Casemiro, it's a duo that can become the base for United, at least until the end of the season, after Casemiro announced he's leaving United in the summer. The point is, with Mainoo and Casemiro, it just looks more natural. They both understand the role. Casemiro is like an uncle and older brother to Mainoo in midfield. They both never advance at the same time. Mainoo helps in regulating the tempo and keeping the team ticking. At the same time, he's an excellent ball carrier. What's even better is that in the last 2 games against City and Arsenal, no player has covered more ground than Mainoo. I mean, thinking of the complete package and what he can potentially be is insane. He's got the work rate to match his talent and ability on the ball. He looked knackered in the final 10 minutes against Arsenal and was still putting in a shift before he eventually bagged the assist. True, there are elements to his game that need to be improved, but again, the angle here is that Mainoo has shown in 2 games what United have been missing almost all season. When they decided to be compact against City, he was the conductor, taking the ball and spreading it. It's again very hard to believe that Ruben Amorim continued to start Manuel Ugarte over Mainoo. He's still only 20. Mainoo has always been full of potential at United, but it doesn't take a genius to understand that the only way he can fulfill this potential is by getting actual minutes on the pitch. Heck, the situation was so bad that even football legends not necessarily associated with Manchester United were calling for the former manager to start Mainoo.
Man United has very good players, and I think that any manager that will be chosen needs to be playing the best players. And for example, Kobbie should be playing.
Beyond the context of the 2 games against City and Arsenal, you can see the future of United with Mainoo. Just think of all the legendary midfielders the club has produced in the past. The likes of Paul Scholes, Roy Keane, and even the current United manager Michael Carrick. Sure, Mainoo has a long way to go before he can enter this category, but at the same time, he's one of the most promising young talents to come out of Old Trafford. The more you think about it, the more you realise United did themselves a huge favour by sacking Ruben Amorim. Why? Because if they didn't any sooner, Mainoo was on the verge of leaving United. The talk about Mainoo going on loan intensified. When his brother came out with that t-shirt at Old Trafford, it was like he'd set a ticking time bomb. But performances in recent weeks have restored faith in Mainoo. It's easy to forget that this was the same kid who, in the 2023/24 season, was turning heads at United. After scoring his first goal for United in the FA Cup against Newport County, Mainoo followed that up with a dramatic stoppage time winner against Wolves.
And he might rue now some of those attacking players he's taken off. But here's Kobbie Mainoo!
This goal later won the Premier League Goal of the Month award for February 2024, and barely 2 months later, he had that iconic moment against Northwest rivals Liverpool at Old Trafford. The turn, the finish, sensational. Mainoo had done enough at the end of that season to make the England team for the Euros that year. He even got to play in the final as England finished runners-up to eventual winners Spain. So fast forward to present day, and you can't help but feel Mainoo has been robbed of what could have been a steady progression. He's still only 20, true, but from that point where he was representing England at the Euros until now, the progression has dropped. After United sacked Ten Hag and Amorim came in, it seemed like he was going to get minutes, especially after his return from injury. But Amorim never really trusted him. Questions started to come out about his application in training, about whether he was actually working hard to be a part of the team and his attitude, until Amorim himself announced that Mainoo was competing with Bruno Fernandes for a spot on the team. But that's all water under the bridge now. Mainoo is back. Michael Carrick believes in him. He's now finally getting the minutes he should have had from the start. He looks like a player reborn, but also at the same time with a point to prove. To shut critics up, to become the player he's been touted to be for years now. There's still a second half of the season to play at United for Mainoo, but one thing is certain. If he can keep up the form he's shown in the last 2 games, Mainoo wouldn't just be about the hype anymore. The conversation would shift to him becoming the real deal, the Premier League's worst nightmare. What do you guys think about Kobbie Mainoo? Is he good enough to keep up this level at United now? Or is he just a couple of games away from going back to the bench again? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to hype this video and hit that subscribe button to Matchday Moments for more content like this.